Yeah. Whoa. If you had seen me just doing what I was doing with my handheld mic there, it would look rather sus, as they say, because I was. That was Justin K with another edition of Wax's podcast intro jingle. And you guys who are avid listeners of the podcast that listened to last week would know that I've been inundated. I think the right word is inundated with podcast jingles by listeners. I had 8 of them on deck. I played 4 of them last week, so I'm going to play the remaining 4 from what I had on deck this week. That one was by Justin K. That was my hand clapping, and that was a knee slapper right there. I was slapping my knee with my hand. But as I did that, I imagined a huge applause sound. I could hear all of your collective applauses from your cubicles, cars, homes, outside on your verandas. Wherever you may be, I could hear all of you clapping and cheering and doing soccer chants, and together it all sounded like some crazy mayhem. So give it up for Justin K. We got 4 this week. Strange thing about the 4 jingles we have this week: Justin K, Joseph, Jared W, and James G. We got 4 of them, and they're all by dudes with names that start with a J. J, the letter J is not a popular letter in terms of, like, if you were on Wheel of Fortune, you wouldn't pick the letter J. If you pick the letter J, people would be like, yo, what's wrong with you? But I will say that the letter J, on the other hand, is a very popular letter for a man's name to start with. For some reason, the letter J is really only used as the first letter of a word. I'm just thinking of this now. Never really thought about it before, but Justin, Jason, Jonathan, Jared, Joseph, James. I mean, Jamal, Jerome. For girls, I guess Jackie, Jill, Jarlin, Janice, Jarlin. No, Jari. It would be short for Jarlin. Geronimo, Gerasovitz. All very popular names, but the letter J is really only used at the start of letters, huh? Jar. A jar. Well, that depends if you're talking about the state of a door when it's open or just a thing you put stuff in 2 words. Adjust. That's a J not in front. What's another word with a J not in front? Is this what we're going to do? Is this going to be the podcast talking about the letter J? Is this the Sesame Street podcast? Today's podcast is brought to you by the letter J. Last week it was brought to you by the number 13. Donald Trump's going to take all that away. He's cutting funding for PBS. Today's lack of an episode of Sesame Street was brought to you by the Donald Trump administration. Huh? Am I right? Political comedy? Hilarious political comedy, right? You know, honestly, when it comes to political comedy these days, I mean, Trump, right? Huh? Now, when it comes to politics these days, I know that I was doing some podcasts in January where I had some harsh words. I had some strong opinions. I had some harsh words. I had some detailed phrases and collections of sentences that formed paragraphs which pretty much were entire dissertations about my opinion on the current state of American politics. And guess what? I don't really give a fuck anymore. I still pay attention to it somewhat. I still go on Twitter in the morning and I see that, like, some fucking name I've never heard of, but I kind of know that it's a political name, like Nunez, or who's another one, like Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is the most horrible looking dude, by the way. Just if you've never seen Mitch McConnell before, he's like I think he's a senator. He's been around for a while in American politics, but I mean I guess that this was an old school thing. Somebody told me yesterday that they've been saying he looks like a turtle on, I don't know if it's Colbert or like old Daily Show. They've been using like him as he was a turtle, but he really looks like a turtle. He really looks like the Robin Hood Disney movie turtle. Anyway, I see their names and I sometimes check up on the headlines, but you know, considering that the president is a reality TV star, considering that the one thing that he says that is actually true is that he's the king of ratings. There's not one person on the entire planet that is talked about more by more people than Donald Trump right now. Not one person on the entire planet. He's the ratings king of all media. That said, 4 years is a long time for a trend. A popular trend. I mean, I guess American Idol went longer than that. I mean, probably The Apprentice was even popular for maybe longer than 4 years. Anyway, what I'm saying is I'm already bored of the show. There's a reason why American Idol only came on once a week. If American Idol would have been on every day, you would have got sick of it. That's why, like, soap operas that they show during the day that come on every single day, they have a small alliance of very, very loyal followers. Whereas something like American Idol has a shitload of people that of course aren't like, their life isn't dedicated to American Idol, but they tune in every week with their family and check it out. Now, the Trump administration has produced so much fucking craziness that in 1 week, so many crazy things happen that after a few weeks of it, people like me just kind of tune out because they're sick of it, and I can't even remember, today's Thursday. I'd have to catch up on what happened Monday and Tuesday. What happened today was built on stuff that happened on Monday and Tuesday, and now I'm so out of the loop. I'm not going to go watch all the past episodes. If I missed 1 week of a show and it was a once a week show, I could catch up. But if I got to go back and get all the crazy shit that happened on a daily basis, I lose track and tune out. And you know what? A lot of people would argue that was the goal. The goal of him doing so much crazy shit all the time is to wear us out, to wear us down and wear us out. Whether this is... I don't think he's calculated enough to even know this shit. I think the people around him know exactly what's going on with this shit. They know that people like me will get bored, tune out, and now I'm not even paying attention, and who knows what crazy shit they're doing. Who knows what kind of nutty things are going on behind those closed doors? I don't. I've tuned out. But you know what? My life is better for it. I'm writing a song about it right now. Actually, I already wrote it. Wrote it yesterday. Beginning to end. I had a chorus from a couple years ago. It's just, it's a very simple song. The world is fucked up. But there's 7 billion people in the world. What the fuck you want me to do? Yeah, it's fucked up. But I only get one life, I only get one chance. So it's actually better off. I think that personally, I'm better off just not worrying about these huge political things when I could just sit in my backyard and drink a cup of coffee. Granted, I'm privileged. I have a backyard. Most people don't. A lot of people out there don't have a house. A lot of people have never had coffee before because they're not fucking privy to how delicious it is. Speaking of that, I wrote a song about coffee. Check it out on my YouTube and Facebook. It's just called Wax. It's just called Coffee by Wax, if you haven't heard that. It's real short. It's like a minute and a half long. Anyway. I'm better off, especially at my age, to just enjoy the fucking time I have left. I was talking to a friend who is my age the other day, and she was saying that, it's good that people that are in their early 20s go out in the streets with signs. We need those people. We need the young and energetic people that still care. Because that's how things change. That's how things change for the better. But you get older and then the youthful energy gets replaced by youthful people who are energetic. We did that, or I didn't really do much of that. But I sit back in a chair now. I'm going to buy a fucking rocking chair. That's what I'm going to do. I'm looking out. I can actually see from the studio. God, I'm fucking privileged. I really am privileged, man. Not saying that I didn't do any work to deserve this. Not saying I didn't go through some hardships, but compared to the hardships some others have gone through, my shit is laughable. But I'm looking out in the backyard. This is just going to be, what I'm about to say is really just symbolism and foreshadowing for how I intend to live the rest of my life. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be a total fucking bum. But I'm looking out in my backyard on this beautiful Southern California day, and I'm seeing several chairs. But I don't see one that rocks. They're all stationary. Stationary chairs? I'm getting to the age where I need a rocking chair. I need a chair outside that rocks. It will encourage me to read more novels, drink more tea, things like that. Listen to the more songs of birds. Now, some of you are saying, man, the whole reason I even know about you is because you work hard and you make music and stuff like that. Now, you're correct, but the interesting part about this whole thing is I've discovered recently that I actually do a lot of I think you're better off creatively when you spend a lot of time not killing yourself to work hard. If you're in the right state of mind as a creative artist, tortured soul that I am, if you're in the right state of mind, you can get more done in a half an hour than you can in a fucking week full of 10-hour days in the studio where you're beating yourself over the head, overthinking everything. And that's fucking true. All that is true. The numbers that I just said. A half an hour with an open and free mind can write you more and better than an infinite amount of hours with a shitty and scattered and fucking second-guessing yourself mind. Making music isn't like building a brick wall. You build a brick wall. I've done shit like that before. I did landscaping for a while. We built walls. We installed pavers. You know what I mean? Planted trees. I think I've related the story on this podcast before of planting like 100 trees in a park when I did landscaping with my homie Matt, who's definitely not listening to this. If he is, though, congratulations on your new baby. He had a baby. A son named Liam, I think. I shouldn't be saying his son's name on the podcast. I'm not going to edit that out, though. None of you guys fucking know him. Why did I bring him up again? Digress much? Speaking of digressing, did you hear about the word digressing that rhymes with salad dressing? Speaking of Russian dressings, the Russians, did you hear about the Russian probe? I'm going to start a new podcast called The Digression Session. It's just going to be the whole thing is going to be like that. Today on my show, I have 13 guests. Yeah, so the one day that I worked with Matt doing landscaping, we had to plant like 100 trees. And if you're planting 100 trees, it's like, the more hours you work, the more trees you get planted. Writing a novel or writing music or whatever is not like that. Doesn't matter how long it takes, it matters the quality. Yeah, so that's that's that, right? That's something I wanted to fucking say. Oh, you know what I wanted to talk about real quick, motherfuckers? Some of the thing that some of you guys... See, I forget. Some people that listen to the podcast, they're up on what I said the last time. I have no fucking idea, for the most part, what I talked about in the last 10 podcasts. I just fucking talk. But I do know that one of the topics, one of the subjects, one of the issues, one of the leading topics of discussion on Wax's podcast right now, you can check it out. You can go to all the hundreds of thousands of message boards, fan sites, Facebook groups, Twitter hashtag Wax's podcast. There's millions of them. There's so many people talking right now about Wax's podcast. So many. I know my podcast is not that popular because I don't know. I just know. But it's popular enough that I should be doing advertising, and they still haven't hit me back about it. I emailed the guy again today. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that. Maybe when you guys filled out the survey, they were like, fuck all these people. I have no fucking idea what happened. But anyway, the most popular topic of discussion on all the hundreds of Wax's podcast message boards out there is what's up with the 30-day health recharge? Did he fail? Open up your web browsers, beatsforwax@gmail.com. Open up your fucking browsers. EOM is building a website right now, and he ran into a problem where his website doesn't work on Microsoft Internet Explorer. We both came to the conclusion that if you're still using Microsoft Internet Explorer, you're not exploring the internet very well, because you should be using Microsoft Internet Explorer to explore the internet to find a new browser. Huh? Hilarious? Nerd humor? Computer geek stuff? Geek Squad? Anybody from the Geek Squad listen? Hello? This thing on? Huh? So now that you got your email fucking server, whatever the fuck you call it, open, Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail, whatever the fucking all text DOS command one is, Linux, I don't know. MySpace messaging, whatever you got, beatsforwax@gmail.com. You're about to send me an email, because I told you a couple podcasts ago that if I fail this 30-day challenge, I told you I was going to not drink one sip of alcohol. I told you I was going to not take one puff of a cigarette. And I told you that I was going to do yoga 6 times a week. You know what? Still on it. No failure over here. All pass, no fail. All pass, no fail. All pass. Sounds like hall pass. Excuse me. I'm a hall monitor. Hall monitor Jameson. Because everybody's name starts with a J in the school that we go to. Oh, hi, Jameson. How you doing? Do you have your hall pass? No, but I have all pass. No fail. Huh? 30 days. You know what the fucking beautiful thing about this goddamn challenge is? Day 31 is next Wednesday. The next podcast, and granted, there's still what? Today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Still got 6 days. Still got 6 days to fail, and trust me, it's easy to fail. But the point is, next Wednesday, I don't even know if I'm going to do a podcast. I mean, shit, I didn't do a podcast this Wednesday. It's Thursday right now. I'll probably do a podcast next Tuesday or next Thursday. Maybe Tuesday, because I'll still be, it'll be the 30th day. But Wednesday, day 31, coincidentally, not really, because I planned it that way, it's my birthday. So the last few weeks, not only have I been clean and healthy, in my mind I've been planning. See, if you drink all the time, go to bars, whatever you do, drink at home, not only do you spend way too much fucking money putting shit inside your body that your body doesn't really need, but, too much of anything just makes that thing boring. Alcohol becomes the Trump administration. It's just always there. And you kind of forget about how, the end of the metaphor with the Trump administration here, but you kind of forget about how fun it can be. When any drug, you can relate that to any drug that you like. You can relate that to playing basketball. You can relate that to making music. Some people that make music, I've known so many musicians in my life, and some of them get tied down, bogged down with life, man. Not everybody's as privileged as me, as lucky as me to get to do this shit without having to fucking, some people got fucking 4 kids, 9-to-5 job they hate. And then when you see them get that free couple hours to do a little jam session with their buddies in the garage, they might as well be up in heaven on a fucking cloud, floating around, wings on their back, playing a fucking harp, man, because they're having so much fucking joy, man. So much joy. And that's how it is for me with this birthday coming up. I'm the kind of person, I'm never excited about my birthday. I don't give a shit about my birthday, man. The only thing that's exciting to me about my birthday is that, I have a twin brother, so that's an excuse for us to hang out and chill. But this time, on the actual birthday, next Wednesday, I've been kind of planning out in my head what I want to do. Now, my favorite bar is not going to be open that day. My favorite bar is this little bar called Tiki Ties in like Eastern Hollywood. It's this little tiny place where they serve tiki drinks. They don't even serve shots, beer, and wine there. You have to order like a specialized tiki drink off of the fucking off of their menu. And it's just a cool ass place, man. It's cool to watch them make the drinks. It's like some Food Network shit, you know. They make that shit with care. It's a family business, but because of the fact that it's a family business, the family will just take like 3 weeks off at a time, a couple times a year, and unfortunately, that 3 weeks is at the same time as my birthday, so I'm just gonna go somewhere else. I love tiki bars, man. I want to go somewhere with that tiki theme. So don't you worry about what I'm doing, but just know that I'm planning it out. I still got 6 days left, though, y'all. If you don't even know what I'm talking about with this 30-day challenge, I said I was going to do 30 days. Like I said, no drink, no smoke, exercise with the yoga. But what I said is if I fail, the first 25 people to email me, beatsforwax@gmail.com, after I announce that I fail on the podcast. I'm not fucking lying, by the way. I'll tell you the truth. And if you don't believe me, you can hit up my roommate or my brother. Herbal Tea is great on Twitter. I don't know, my roommate's Camila Recchio on Twitter and Instagram. Ask them. They'll tell you. I told them to tell you the truth. I'm not lying about this shit. But I said that the first 25 people to email me, I'd PayPal them each $20. That's a $500 wager on my part. And trust me, I shouldn't be doing shit like that. And there actually was a day, like probably like 10 days ago, where like I really wanted a cigarette, and that $500, like that's that really. I think I don't know if I would have had one, but that definitely played a role in it, I think. What else was I going to talk about? Was I going to talk about anything else? Let me see. This guy, speaking of my podcast, popularity and just my popularity in general, I was talking shit on my Instagram story. There's just some rapper that I saw who had a crazy picture of him. He looked real scary, and I was just kind of talking shit on my Instagram story. And he's like, you're barking up the wrong tree, man. I was like, what are you talking about? This guy's not going to look at my Instagram story. That was an interesting story I just told. Yeah, I don't know what else. Let me, before I get into the questions and shout-outs, I guess I'll just do a rundown of what's going on in my life. I just shot a music video. Not my music video. I just helped my roommate shoot her music video yesterday, which is a fucking great song and video that's going to come out, I think, today. I'm working on some new acoustic songs. I'm working on some new jokes. I got a show. Hey, like I announced last week, I got a show on May 10th, Los Angeles. Look at my Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and you can find the ticket link. Westside Comedy Theater, 10 p.m., May 10th. Going to play it, for the most part, all new shit I'm working on. New acoustic shit. Some of you guys are like, fuck that, man. Rap about fucking my girlfriend. And how about how you're good at rapping. There's going to be some of that probably, actually. But I think this shit's going to be dope. And what else I got going on over here? What else is going on in the world of wax? Not much. I'm trying to think. Just working on writing songs, but I'm writing a bunch of songs. Yeah, whatever. We're doing I think I talked about it. Me and Davey, my boy Davey, have a side project of all like 80s sounding songs. Shooting a music video for that in 2 days. I'm excited about that. Some of you are going to love that shit. Some of you are going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And it's going to be cool. Let's go to questions and shoutouts. Damn, all right. Give it up for Jared W. Jared W. The W must stand for Whoa! That was a good podcast jingle. I actually really liked that one. It was really relaxing. And you held the fuck out of that last note, didn't you? That was a fucking whole note. That was fucking dope. It's like it was like trap. If you were, people that make trap music a lot of times talking about drinking lean, like drinking lean and having like a little like Casio bossa nova joint. You know what I mean? Remember the bossa nova tom tom sound? No, only me. Oh, what am I talking about? Shout outs and questions. Let's do this. What the fuck am I talking about right now? Izza from Toronto. Roland R. I wonder what the R stands for. It's a nice alliterative name. Roland R. Roland Reed. Roland. This is Roland. I play a Roland piano, huh? And I also, I'm rolling. Hey! We got Mark from Gurnee, Illinois. Mark from Gurnee, Illinois has some recommendations for everybody listening. He recommends House of Cards on Netflix. And Rainbow Six Siege on PlayStation 4. I have no idea what the fuck that is. I know that it's very popular and just normal. Very popular and normal for people to play video games. It's not something I do. Me and my brother were talking yesterday. I think me and him both, we're fucking identical twins, so we have the same. We were raised in exactly the same environment, and we have the exact same genetics. So it's not surprising that we have the same opinions on a lot of shit. We realized that neither one of us give a fuck about stuff that's based on fantasy. Stuff that interests me is like documentaries and interviews and comedy and things that relate to stuff that actually happens in the world. Somebody asked, this happened to me and happened to him, like on some twin shit in different settings. Somebody asked, what's your favorite superhero? And both of us said Indiana Jones. And then didn't take long to realize, wait a second, Indiana Jones isn't a superhero. He doesn't have any fucking powers at all. And then we realized, well, that's what's kind of dope about Indiana Jones. He's just a regular guy. He's a what do they call? He's like an archaeologist. And he has a whip and he just runs away. He gets caught all the time. But they put him in a pit full of snakes. There are snakes on Earth, not snakes that talk and fly. Not zombie snakes. Not snakes that cast spells. Just fucking snakes. And that doesn't really have anything to do with playing video games, I suppose, but I'm just saying that me and him are into that shit. Like, he has a friend that's always like, hey, man, you see the new Superman movie? He's like, no. And his friend is always shocked. He's like, how the fuck have you not seen the new Green Lantern? Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings. I've never seen any of that shit. And when I try to see it, I'm just like, what? Wait, the guy's flying? What do you mean he's flying? It's not for me. Okay, we got E. coli, the truckery guy. E. coli, the truckery guy. He recommends the rapper Afro. All caps is like a anagram, acronym. I said anagram. Which I can't even remember what an anagram is right now. What the fuck is an anagram? Why can I not remember what an anagram is? I'm typing it into the fucking Google right now. Herbal tea raps on the Google, but when I think you're gonna see the taps on the bugle like a funeral done. Back in the day, they used to call me Roman numeral 1. In the Coliseum, battling the lions like a gladiator. You can bet I'm twisting and burning the fatty later. 'Cause I smoke a lot of the trees, oh spit sick like I got a disease. An anagram may be a synonym or antonym of its subject, a parody, criticism. For example, the word anagram can be rearranged into... an anagram is like, okay, like, so if I say I can't see anything in front of me that has like an piano, it would be like Nyapo. An anagram is like something where you can take the letters and make other letters. I'm looking on my email to see if I can find something you can even do that with. Okay, side is an anagram for dies. How about that? How does that work for you, huh? Fuck, now I'm stuck on that, looking at words, and then the rap is for par, That also happens to be the backwards spelling of it. Anyway, why the fuck did I even say that? Oh yeah, he was talking about the rapper Afro, who I agree is dope. And he also said the movie Pool Hall Junkies, which is a movie I've never seen, so I can't share the I'm sharing the recommendation, but I can't share my recommending of it. But Eagle-Eye the Trucker guy recommends that. We got Nicholas S. We got the one, the only, Ed from Chicago. Happy belated birthday to Clones 3K, who celebrated that on March 10th. Clones 3K, all one word. Standard new rapper names. All the new rapper names I see are these internet-y names. They all look like passwords. They all look like email passwords. That should be a crew. Yo, we the EPs. Yo, cop that new EP. What's the EP stand for? Email passwords. Yo, we the email passwords. This is _ capital V TS4. It's my homie @ symbol greater than M. All right, you get the point. Dylan and Connor from Ireland. Dylan and Connor from Ireland. Dylan and Colin from Ireland. Did I have this? I can't remember if I wrote this down. I think I asked them to tell me about it. Apparently, if you've been keeping up with the last couple of podcasts, I was talking shit about Dylan and Connor and their friend Tyler because those are all stereotypical like California dude names. Dude, Dylan. I was hanging out with Tyler, and me and Connor went to the mall, and we got some. But anyway, Dylan and Connor were saying that Tyler and also other teens from Ireland, I guess a cool thing for young people to do over there is to talk in an American accent. I had never heard of this phenomenon, so I'm asking for them and anybody else from Ireland who may be listening. Give me some info on that. I never heard of that shit. All right, shout out to B. That's it, just the letter B. And that's a person, not Sesame Street like I was saying before, not just big ups to the letter B. Although that big ups does start with it. I like how the letter B, the lowercase, is just you just kind of take off that little quarter circle off the top and it becomes lowercase. That's kind of cool. I like how they did that. Thanks, person who invented the English alphabet. All right, we got Jody T and Rising Buffalo Tribe, Portland Roots Reggae. Okay, Joby T and Rising Buffalo Tribe, who I guess represent that Portland Roots Reggae. We got Andrew L. And, of course, we got the one and only John Doe. All right. This is from Justin K. Justin K. also the one of the people who did a jingle for Wax's podcast this week. Sup, Wax? I've been having some pretty shitty days lately. And I just wanted to say that your music and your podcast have been making me feel better. Whenever things are going wrong or I'm just feeling pissed off or sad, I immediately throw in some Wax to tolerate the bullshit. I just wanted to thank you for helping me getting through some of the harder times that life throws at us. Your music has moved me. I hope this email will make you feel better as well. Keep on grinding, Wax. Thank you. Well, you know what, Justin K? It did. It did make me feel good reading that email, and I think I have another kind of email that's similar to that later. But I just wanted to read a couple of these today because, like I was saying earlier, you kind of when you're doing music, you kind of spend a lot of time by yourself. It kind of can feel like a selfish endeavor at times. Whereas some people, good people, people that we need in the world, people like somebody I'm going to read later in this. People like I think it doesn't matter. People that there's somebody that does a good job like that later. That's people that help others, spend their lives helping other people. We need people like that. And being a musician doesn't always feel like that. It feels like very selfish. But through your own selfishness, exploring your own fucking thoughts on the world and sharing them, you realize that other people have the same thoughts, and you're actually helping people without even knowing it. So it's good to hear about shit like this. It's not all selfish. So I share this for myself, and I share this for you all the listeners, all the people over there making art. You can make a difference in somebody's life. It sounds like I'm about the next thing I should be saying is where you can send me money. All right. This is Tyler, a.k.a. T-Lag. 1. Would you ever put songs like One Take in the Basement, I Rap Better Than You, Scratchy, Suspicious Glow, or any of your old rapping shit on Spotify? Some of the lines in those songs are straight fire. You posted also, 2, you posted a part of a song on Instagram, and in the background, it's Chain Reaction. If you have a full song he's talking about is a song I did, if you watch the Chain Reaction, Papa John's, there's a song I'm working on called Diamond in the Rough. I've been actually working on it for years, just slowly. That's how shit works sometimes. Sometimes you just like make a beat. And then like a year later, you kind of going through your sessions. And you're like, oh, there's a chorus to that. And then like a year later, you're going through a session. That happens sometimes. It's happening with that song. But all this is to say, Tyler, a.k.a. T-Lag, suggested the idea of putting some of my old songs on Spotify. And I get that because I'm a Spotify user. I only listen to music on Spotify. Occasionally I'll listen to music on YouTube if I want to see the video, or if I just like if I'm at home and I'm just like on YouTube, I might cuz YouTube's a good tool for discovery, you know what I mean? If you type in a song and you go to the video playing the song, the related videos can lead you to some cool places on YouTube. I like that about it. But for the most part, I listen to music on Spotify. I pay the $10 a month, and I have a premium subscription to Spotify. So essentially what Spotify is it's a library. It's just an enormous library of music that you can have a membership for $10, and then you can go in and fucking essentially check out anything. But there's also an infinite amount of anything. So it's never like something's out like an old school library. Like, when's it coming back? When's Tim going to bring back fucking Clifford Goes to the Dentist? Some of you guys don't even know what the fuck that means. A lot of you guys never grew up with like the Dewey Decimal System and actual fucking brick and mortar libraries. Never been to that. What was my point? Oh, yeah. I just had straight up, my brain just fucking came to a screeching halt for a second. That was weird. So my point is Tyler, a.k.a. T-Lag, proposed the idea of me putting these old songs, maybe even like songs that I posted on YouTube many years ago, or songs from like One Take in the Basement is from a solo album I put out in like 2001. God damn. That's how fucking old I am. And I was reading this email and I was like, dude, that's actually a really good idea. I think, and I give all credit to Tyler for this idea. I think that it might be a good idea to make a mixtape of like old shit and unreleased like B-side. People would call it B-side, like old shit and B-side shit for Spotify. And if I made the title of the project something that really was like almost self-deprecating of itself, so people don't think that, like, you know, because it'll come up on Spotify. I released it this year, and people are like, oh, Wax put out some new shit, but I don't want people to think that I'm putting out some like shit that's supposed to be my best new shit with my best foot forward. It's supposed to be kind of for the fans, like old stuff that people just want to have available on Spotify. And to sweeten the deal, I could put a few joints on there that I've never put out before, maybe including the song you asked about in your second question, the Diamond in the Rough song, which I could, which would be further incentive for me to finish that song, because I could make that one of the songs. I got a few songs that are good. Like, I got a few good songs that I've never put out. So hit me on Twitter at Big Wax and let me know if you think I should do that. You think I should make like an unreleased and B-side mixtape, like just for Spotify tape? I guess it would be on what other those, like Tidal and fucking Apple Music as well. But let me know if you think I should do that, because I kind of think that's a good idea. I'll give all credit to Tyler for that, but I think that's kind of a good idea. And I was thinking as a if I had an artist that I liked, I would think it was cool if they did that. I'd love to hear, like, I remember back in the day, bands would do that. Like, I think Metallica put out like the garage tapes back when they used to record shit in the garage, and I think that was a cool idea. And at this point in time, doing something like that for Spotify would be dope. And if people don't really do that, hey man, that's a good that's even more reason to do it. Do something that people don't generally do. All right, we got Wax. It's Joel from Sweden here. So I was listening to your old shit and heard some stuff I had never heard before, such as The Adventures of Larry and Tina. I went to your old MySpace and I could find only 4 songs. Is there any place I can find all your old albums? I know you've got Grizzly Season on Spotify, but I would love to buy the album where The Adventures of Larry and Tina song is from, if there is one, or any other album hidden somewhere. Oh, and is there a chance that you will do another tour in Europe? Hope all is well, man. Well, Joel, I hope to do another tour in Europe. I haven't really been working on that, but it would be a good idea for me to do that. Maybe I should stop being... I feel like every podcast I say, like, when it comes to like, touring, I just fucking act like I'm going to do anything about it, and I don't. But hopefully, man. Hopefully sometime soon. I've actually never done a show in Sweden before. As far as the song The Adventures of Larry and Tina, the reason you're having trouble finding that album, probably, I'm guessing, because I've had a lot of people have had this issue before, is you're probably on Spotify looking for Wax, whereas that album is actually by Wax and EOM. It'll be like it's on a different artist page. The album is called Liquid Courage, and it's by Wax and EOM. So if you look that up, you'll be able to find The Adventures of Larry and Tina and like 16 other songs that were from that album, all produced by my man EOM. I think that was the entirety of that question, but that kind of just goes to show you, with what Tyler was saying, that people do look for your old music. It doesn't really matter how old something is. If somebody likes something, they like it. I mean, most of the music I've been listening to recently is from the fucking 70s. So, what is this? Yo, Wax, this is sincerely, what the fuck does that say? NWALIF, and then parentheses, AKA Samuel with a capital E before the E, and Kahel, K-A-H, capital E, capital L. Kale, not Kyle. What the fuck does any of that mean? What is that? What the fuck kind of signature is that? Sincerely, Nualif, a.k.a. Samuel and Kale. Samuel and Kale, who are collectively known as Nualif, I guess. All right. Now that I've dissected your fucking signature, I don't want to sound so mad at your signature, but I got to tell you, it pissed me off for some reason. Yo, Wax, I'm interested in why you decided to get a political science degree. The classes are for sure interesting, but what did you think you would do with that degree? Interesting question. That was a while ago. I have a bachelor's degree in political science from the University of Maryland. Go Terps. First of all, the reason why I got that political science degree, it wasn't my first choice. When I first entered college as a wide-eyed man full of promise, and I was actually planning on doing the business school, but the business school in Maryland, it required like a certain, I think I was right under where the GPA that was required to get into the business school. And also I think by then I didn't really want to go to the business school. I realized I took like economics 1, and I was like, this shit's awful. And I know that business school had a lot to do with numbers and finance and econ and all that shit. So I kind of I think after that, I think I was going to be an English major. And then I kind of looked at after like 2 years, I kind of looked at the credits I had and compared them to degrees were out there, and I think I had the most credits for political science, so I kind of decided that way. And there was a bunch of interesting classes in it. It required a 15 credit minor, and my minor was I had already taken a bunch of African American studies classes. Like I took like blaxploitation cinema, history of jazz, and fucking shit like that. Now I got that degree mostly because I just kind of fell into it. Now you got to imagine, you're like, why did I get that degree, and what did I want to do with it? See, at that time, man, I was in a band. I was in a fucking band. And, you know, compared to a lot of bands, local young bands at that time, we're doing pretty well. But there was a battle of the bands. There was a battle of the bands amongst all the bands in our College Park, Maryland area and at the University of Maryland of who would play that year's Art Attack. Art Attack was the big spring festival. Opening for Wyclef. That's how fucking old I am. The big person they were going to have. I think even at that time, people were like, Wyclef? Why the fuck are we getting him? But that's who we opened for. We won the battle, and we were opening for them, and we were touring. And I thought, who gives a fuck about this political science degree when I'm going to be a fucking sick, when I'm going to be a fucking ass-kicking lead singer in a band? I've always had dreams. Always had dreams. Walif Samuel Kale. Yeah. You know, like a lot of people, you know, when you go to college, you might not really know what you want to do, or sometimes you might just like if somebody majored in English and they want to be a writer. Or shit, that's not even a good example because those two things go together. Somebody goes to college because you're supposed to. I kind of went to college because you're supposed to. I was taught, shout out to my parents who raised me. I was taught since I could ever remember that I was going to college. I'm 5 years old, and my parents are like, yeah, tell them, it was just like, that's a big thing. Like, if for parents out there or whatever, man, it's all about expectations. If it's a given since you're a kid that you're going to go to college, and it's just kind of accidentally beat into your head that, like, yeah, you go to high school, then you go to college, then you're going to probably go to college. That's why it's cyclic. If you're a parent and you didn't go to college, it might seem normal. It'll seem like it's like, maybe if you're the shit, you'll go to college. Then it's like a different level of expectations. They probably won't go if it seems like some fucking miracle to do. Anyway, what the fuck am I talking about? How many times am I going to say, what the fuck am I talking about? I'm not even talking about on the podcast. I mean in life in general. If you added up the amount of time, if I had a dime for every time I said, what the fuck am I talking about? I would probably have, a dime's not that much. If you add up dimes, probably have 1,000. I don't know. I'd have a lot of money. It'd be a solid day. Be a solid Coinstar receipt. Let's put it that way. We got Nate the Plate up next. BTW. In regards to the podcast OG listeners, people who have been listening since the very beginning. I myself am an OG listener. I remember when you posted your very first podcast on Apple's whatever the fuck you want to call it in late August of 2012. This year in August will be the 5-year anniversary of the podcast. Wow. That's funny because there's 52 weeks in here. So 5. In August, I should be up to episode like 270. I'll probably have half of that. I remember specifically where I was. I was on vacation with my family in Traverse City, Michigan. Just chilling on some random beach somewhere. Middle of the day. I had just turned 16 years old a couple months before. Great memories. Wish I could go back, and I'm only goddamn 20 years old right now. Damn, Nate the Plate, you're young as shit. Oh shit, just thought of this question on the spot. Just now. Do you ever look back on really amazing past life experiences and think, man, I wish I would have realized how good I had it all that exact moment in time? Maybe not the exact moment, but maybe just an area of time where you wish you would have been more generally appreciative of what was going on around you. I find myself looking back on way too many moments like this. Even moments where I thought that while in this moment, whatever was happening was indeed lame as fuck or just not worth my time at all, and just wishing I would have been happier with what was happening. I don't know. I hope that made sense, man. I'm in my car in my driveway currently getting fucking faded off of some medicinal wax straight from our goddamn capital here in Michigan. The one and the only Lansing, Michigan. My med card saved my life. Nate the Plate. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, well, Michigan is one of the states that has had medical marijuana for a long time. I don't know if they have. I don't know if they've done the recreational yet. I'm positive they haven't in Michigan, but Michigan has actually had the recreational marijuana the medicinal marijuana for a while. I think if you fast forward to like 20 years from now, I think the whole country will just have legal recreational. That's the way I should go. Well, that's if there is. I mean, the America will still be here, just like Russia is still there. Whether it's like the United States of America as it is now, who knows? I really believe that we might see some fucking changes in our government that might, at the very least, change the name a little bit. I don't know. What the fuck? Oh yeah. First of all, Traverse City, Michigan, on the beach. I guess that's Lake Michigan or Lake Huron or on one of those Great Lakes. Doesn't seem like the greatest vacation spot. Traverse City, Michigan. Did you traverse to get there? That's it was called Traverse City because some of the early settlers traveled all the way from the East Coast to Michigan. And that was as far as they could go, as far as they could traverse. They weren't all they didn't have the high hopes of Lewis and Clark, who I guess invented the Oregon Trail or whatever fake other historical facts I'm going to make up. Anyway, yeah, dude. I've had plenty of moments. I've had plenty of time where I feel like I didn't cherish the moment enough. I had a crazy year in 2013 where I was always over in Europe with a big hit song over there, and I think that even though I did enjoy myself a lot, and I can remember specific moments where I did cherish it, there was one, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but there was one moment in the bedroom. There was one moment that I remember specifically, like, all right, this is amazing. This one might be the high point of your life. It was a sexual moment. But besides that, there was a lot of times when I spent too much time thinking about that song and that whatever being a stepping stone to the next thing, rather than realizing like, yo, this is awesome what's going on right now. And the funny thing about that is, the more in the moment you are, the more that you actually might have brighter things happening in the future. You know what I mean? The more you're relishing the current present, you know, the better off you are in the future, if that makes any sense. But if you're worried, like if you feel like you're successful, quote unquote, and you're worried about keeping that success, you might not enjoy the time that you have in that success. And I definitely had times where I probably didn't enjoy it as much as I could have. I didn't act right in certain situations, I would say. But yeah. I can't think of anything really specific though. Anyway, this is Big D. This next one is from Big D. Hey Mike, just wanted to answer to the call out for the OG listeners. We got Big D and Nate the Plate coming through with emails about being the OG listeners. Been listening since day one, and I think you actually answered one of my questions on podcast number 24. Anyways, just hitting you up to say that I completed that survey for you. I also wanted to mention that if you don't end up getting enough people to answer the survey for advertisements, I'm sure you could set up a Patreon. Patreon or Patreon? I think it's Patreon. For the podcast, and longtime listeners like myself would donate some funds to keep this shit going. I had a quick question for you. What hardware are you using for the podcast right now, Mike? Audio interface? I've been thinking about getting into some audio work, and your mic sounds more crisp than one of those Sunchip biodegradable bags. I think I caught a draft, and I think I should rest up and have some tea. Caught a draft. I had a bunch of other stuff to write to you, but I'll save it for next week's email. Plan on doing a cool jingle for the podcast soon. That's what's up. Talk to you soon, Big D. I appreciate the email. As always, Big D. Thanks from podcast 24 till podcast 134. I appreciate your listenership. Speaking of crisp like the Sunchip biodegradable bags, last week I've developed. God, I'm becoming such a fucking old Californian cornball. Last week, me and my boy Kurt were playing golf. We play golf on this local par 3 course, and there's one in Van Nuys where like the squirrels, urban squirrels are much less scared of people than suburban and rural squirrels. A rural squirrel. What? A rural squirrel. That's such a cool phrase. A rural squirrel. I'm sure that somebody's used those rhymes in a rap before. Shit, I probably fucking have. But a rural squirrel won't let you get within 40 feet of it. But this fucking squirrel was following us around the golf course. It's because this Van Nuys golf course has like a, right before you start, they got like a thing where you can get like corn nuts and shit like that. Specifically, I remember seeing like, oh, corn nuts, that could be cool to get. I didn't buy them, but I bet you a lot of people do. And during the course of those nine holes of par 3 golf, actually that one they have 18 holes of par 3 golf. We only played 9 though. But I'm sure over the years the squirrels have gotten used to people giving them corn nuts, Doritos, whatever fucking bullshit snack food they sell there. So I've never seen squirrels like follow you. And Kurt had one of those bags, and as soon as he made that noise, that whatever noise a bag makes when you crumple it, the squirrel fucking would like run up to him and he could like touch it. It was weird. The digression session. Patreon. As far as getting a Patreon, I think what a Patreon is basically just people donate money for the podcast. I think I'm gonna. I'll save that for when I'm fucking desperate. You know what I mean? I'll save that idea for when I'm like, okay, I've been doing this podcast for 15 years and now I can't pay my rent anymore because I'm old and decrepit and nobody gives a shit about what I say anymore. Can anybody donate to me? I'm going to save that idea for when I'm desperate. I don't like just asking straight up for money. You know what I mean? If you can give me money, I'm going to provide you a service. I guess doing this podcast is a service to some of you, but I don't think I'm going to do the Patreon, although I do appreciate that, Big D. Maybe I'll at least look into it. Because maybe you could just donate 10 cents. If you don't, what is it? Speaking of, didn't I just do a fucking thing with dimes earlier? Oh, that was how many times I say, what the fuck am I talking about? That's what my Patreon should be. Every time I say that, you owe me a dime. But then my podcast would just be a fucking hour of me saying that. What the fuck am I talking about? What the fuck am I talking about? What the fuck am I talking about? That'd be just that for an hour. I think, is Patreon just like a fucking button that you donate with? Or I want to say that Patreon it must be, I think, well, I guess I could fucking research it instead of just speculating on the podcast. But I think Patreon is like, if I put out like I get your fucking info or something, and then if I put out a podcast, it takes 10 cents from your credit card or something? Or do you wait, is that how that works? Or you can't do that, right? I'm looking it up right now. Turn your fans into Patreon. Turn your fans into predictable income by offering exclusive content. Get your Patreon. I shouldn't be doing this on the podcast. I don't understand the fuck. Thank you. Thousands of creators make more than $25,000 each year on Patreon. Wow. Their fucking their first sentence about themselves looks like a Donald Trump tweet. It ends with "wow" with an exclamation point. I'm not gonna look this up on the podcast, but yeah, I'm not trying to take y'all's money like that. I'll sell you a fucking t-shirt. If I get money from you, you're gonna get a t-shirt. God damn it. What was the question? The audio interface. I actually just use it. I just use an SM58 now. I used to use a Neumann mic, but now I just use an SM58 and hold it with my hand. The interface that I use is a Motu 828. MOTU. I use an 828X. Who knows what brand or what model number that Motu is on now? We bought this interface like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, So I'm sure they got a newer model. Granted, this is for, it's got a bunch of inputs in the back. This is for a music studio. If you were doing, you say you're gonna do audio work. I don't know what kind of audio work you're. If you're recording someone playing drums, you're gonna need a drastically different interface than if you're making podcasts. Podcasts, you could just have a really simple one. If you have an SM58, which is like the standard mic for like live, if you go see a rock band play at almost any venue in the country, chances are the people singing are going to be singing out of SM58s unless they have a wireless mic. If they have a mic that's plugged in, it's a 99% chance they're singing out of an SM58, and it sounds fine as long as you have a little compression and shit on it. Sounds like the radio. Sounds like a podcast. Sounds like, good enough. I appreciate it, Big D. All right, we got a couple more. Hey, Big Wax, this is Big Rich. What up, Big Rich? Got a couple questions for you I hope you can answer on the podcast. Which psychedelics have you done, if any? And what were your experiences like? Secondly, I noticed you have a good diction, and your speaking skills are quite good. Do you have any advice in how to improve said skills? I'm a big fan of you and your brother's music. I'm honestly shocked that your music is more well-known. I guess that must mean not. You must probably say it meant not. Mainstream rap is garbage in my humble opinion, he says. I didn't say that. Thanks for your music and your podcast. First of all, Big Rich, as far as mainstream rap, right now, I'm so fucking out of touch. I have no idea what's even going on in mainstream rap. I saw Intuition posted something about there being an XXL freshman thing, and I looked at the list of names. I didn't know one person on the whole thing. So that's where I'm at in terms of mainstream rap. I need to get I really should just. I'm supposed to be a professional rapper, right? I should know what's going on in the mainstream rap world, right? Should at least listen to the top 10 on Spotify here and there. But I used to do that, but right now I don't. I'm in my own world, Big Rich. Okay, what psychedelics have I done, and also how? It's interesting because this whole question made me think of my mom, because my mom listens to this podcast, and I don't really want to talk about the psychedelic drugs that I've done because she listens, But then again, the second question is about me having good diction and speaking skills, which probably all go back to her because my mother is an English teacher. I'd like to think that some of my good diction and speaking skills can be directly attributed to her raising me as a kid. I don't know. She was a fucking English teacher. I do remember her possibly correcting us on certain words. I don't know. I kind of have a brain for language too. Like my twin brother, he took Spanish and Portuguese in school. He also lived in Mexico for a year, and he lived in Brazil for a year. So now he's fluent in 3 different languages. And I think if I had tried to be like that, I probably could be too. But I just never made the effort, and I don't like, in America, you don't have to speak other languages. You fucking European elitists that think we're stupid because we only speak English. It's because you have to. It's a fucking useful skill to you. Spanish is a useful skill in California. But for you guys to speak English, it's actually a useful skill, because if you're French and you have to talk to somebody who only speaks German, I mean, shit, if you live in Austria, they speak fucking English, German, and you know what the fuck I'm saying. Anywho, I don't need to speak another language, but I have a natural affinity for language, especially the English one. But I think that was really brought to you mostly by my mom, who's an English teacher. As far as the psychedelic experiences, let's just say this. I have not done ayahuasca. The last drug that I feel necessary, the last drug that I've never done that I feel like I want to do is ayahuasca. I want to have that experience with the whole shaman shit, the whole 9. Don't want to just do it by myself and hope everything goes right. But yeah, I've done acid and mushrooms, and I've had some good experiences and some not so good ones. But not in a while. I think that psychedelics are stuff that you don't have to do all the fucking time and a lot. You know what I mean? Although when I was younger, All right, next one. This is the last one, I think. This is Mark from Kingston. Yo, Wax, what's good today? Uh, Yo, Wax, what's good today? Comma EH, eh? So that's already I can guess that you're from Canada. Sure enough, the next sentence is it's Mark from Kingston. When I first read that, I'm like, Kingston? Oh, shoot, we got a Jamaican listener? But then I was like, wait a second. Did Jamaicans say like that? I don't know. What the fuck? It's Mark from Kingston. Don't doubt your membership, but I wrote a couple times before. I think the last time was when Herbs and his lady were on the podcast. Crazy, eh? Well, I just wanted to let you know a different-ish way your music affects people. This is what I was talking about earlier. I work with adults with disabilities, mostly developmental disabilities. Half of my job is just getting people out to achieve goals and shit they love. Most of the people I support like country or pop, one or two metalheads, but I got two that are loving you now. Feel free to skip some of this shit because it's long and I don't want to break your flow, you know? I support this one lady who gets anxious easily. We all have our ways to help her cope, and I sing with her. One particular day, none of her regular stuff was working. Good morning song, chubby checker, stuff like that. So I tried singing Limousine. Limousine is one of my songs. It worked, and now most times I'm with her, we end up singing it at least once or twice a shift. A gent I support is another fellow who doesn't really have the ability to explain what he likes. He's pretty anxious in the car and even usually needs to sit in the back seat just so he can't see the movement. His mother thought he liked jazz, but we could never get him to listen to any music. One day in the car, my phone connected to the radio and started playing general shit talk. I was a bit scared as he is pretty square and doesn't swear or anything. But he started rocking out hardcore. Biggest smile I ever saw on the man. He can sit in the front and he'll laugh and smile at most of the hooks and shit. He'll legit get upset if we arrive before a song is over. Anyways, just letting you know I couldn't get to your shows down to the land of the free because of getting held up at the border. Oh, man, that sucks. I'm going to get the Nexus card or whatever, so next time you have a show near the border, I'll get down. Fuck being brown. Oh, is that why they fucked with you? Damn. All right, keep it easy, eh? Sorry to hear about that experience at the border, man. That sucks. As far as this whole email, man, it just really was touching to me. It's kind of like what I was saying earlier about you never know what kind of... Two things I was saying earlier. One is what kind of positive ways your music can affect people. The other thing I was talking about is how people out there, people like Mark from Kingston here, they do fucking real amazing work, you know? They work with people and help people every day. We need people like you. And unfortunately, good people do these kind of jobs. And I'm not saying that it's bad that they do. I'm saying what sucks is jobs where we need good people are often done by bad people. And what jobs I'm referring to is mostly politics. Because people get into politics because they're narcissistic and they want to be powerful. Whereas people get into things like helping adults with disabilities because they're actually good people that want to help. And they're good for the world and good for local communities. And somebody like Mark from Kingston is never going to be the president because he wouldn't want to be the president. And which sucks because he's the kind of person we need to be the president. The fucking 10% of the people in the world, if that, 10%, 5% of the people in the world who are assholes tend to be the 5% of the people in the world who hold positions of power because they're the ones who want to. It's what makes somebody a dick. It's that they want to rule over people and be a bully. So that drives them into positions of power, even on the small level, such as police. No offense to all police officers, but if you've dealt with the police at all, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. There is a type of person that generally becomes a police officer. That's why you're shocked when you meet a nice one. Yeah, so I just thought that was cool, man. That's amazing to hear. I appreciate the email, and I guess, dude, glad to help. You know, that's fucking amazing. And on that positive note, on that note of positivity, Wax's positive cast. Be safe out there, y'all. Well, I just realized after I said be safe out there that I forgot to play the other two jingles. So, unfortunately, I'm going to play them at the end right now. So I'm sorry to these guys, but I'm going to play them right now. Check it out.
37 Spirit, 37 Spirit, 37
Fuck you and all your shockers. Working out, doing yoga, eating healthy. Working out, doing yoga, eating healthy. Yeah. That and yeah was actually on the recording. That was Joseph with the podcast jingle. That was fucking dope. That was a good one, using the samples of 37 Spiritual. Let's see what we got. We got, which one do we got next? I think we got James G coming up next. We got James G.
He'll play my jingle, 1000% guarantee. Worth the effort, that deal seems pretty fair to me. So I write a little piano melody carelessly. Loop it up on GarageBand over an airy beat. I'll make a jingle, jolly like Kris Kringle. Turn it into a single, it's pop like a Pringle. Wax's podcast. Oh, I'm telling you, it's Wax's podcast. And it starts right now.
I feel bad putting that one at the end because it says it starts right now, specifically at the end, but I appreciate that, James G. Shout out to James G, Jared W, Joseph, and Justin K, all for making the intro. Sorry for playing those two at the end, guys. I was just inundated with so many podcast jingles. All beautiful, all lovely, all feeding my ego. Speaking of people that are narcissistic assholes, you know. All right, y'all. Be safe out there.